Ultron was a pretty bad dude, robot AI guy. He thought the best way to save humanity was to completely wipe them out and start over. He tried to use Sokovia to wipe out all life on Earth. But, thankfully, he was unsuccessful because he was stopped by the Avengers. But what if he wasn't? What would have happened then? Well, today I discuss what I think would happen if Ultron had won and wiped out humanity. There is a very small handful of people on Earth who I think have a possibility of being able to survive the destruction of Earth. And whether or not these people survive greatly impacts what would happen next. These people are Odin, the Ancient One, and the other wizards, Wakanda, and some of the Avengers. I will be going through multiple different scenarios where some of these people die and some don't in order to see what would happen. Starting off, we need to assume that everybody who is not included in this list is dead. No other survivors. First, I'm going to start off with everyone is dead. In this situation, everyone and everything on Earth is completely toast. The only thing left is Ultron. Odin is now dead. In case you don't remember, Odin is on Earth because Loki left him there after taking his place at the end of Thor: The Dark World. When he dies, Hela is freed and now she is also on Earth. With the Ancient One and Doctor Strange dead, there is nobody to stop Dormammu. So Caecilius can just oh, wait a second. Caecilius is dead too. So that means there's no one to summon Dormammu. So at least that's good. If the blast is powerful enough to take down the protection surrounding Wakanda, then I would assume it would also completely wipe out and expose the city. So now Ultron has access to essentially unlimited vibranium. So we have a much stronger Ultron. If all the Avengers are killed, well, then that includes Vision. So now Ultron has the Mind Stone. And as for the other Infinity Stones, the Time Stone would be in the rubble of New York. And I would assume that Hela would get this stone, because as we see in Thor Ragnarok, she just appears where Odin died. And since Odin was in New York, that's where she would appear. And also from Ragnarok, she seems to know at least what the stones are.
Fake. That's not bad.
So I think she would be smart enough to take it. I presume that she would then head to Asgard and attempt to take over again like Ragnarok. Only without Thor, Asgard is pretty screwed. So now Hela has the Space Stone as well, leaving Ultron with 1 stone, Hela with 2, and the other 3 spread across space. Hela, now the Queen of Asgard, would wish to spread her domain, and I would assume that she would start with the 9 realms, so she would fairly quickly get to Earth, which would now be inhabited by Ultron and his army of, well, him. So then the question becomes whether or not they would be allies, and I for one don't think they would be. I think Hela would only work with someone if she was in charge of them, and Ultron would never submit to a being of flesh. So the two fight, and there is no way that Ultron would win, especially since Hela has 2 Infinity Stones. Also, she can shatter Uru, so I'm sure vibranium would be no problem. So then Hela continues her conquest across the galaxy, killing anybody who won't submit to her. Her conquest catches the eye of a certain group of space guardians who try to stop her. They pose a good fight. They did kill a Celestial after all, but in the end they are all killed. And this doesn't really have any major changes until Infinity War. Now, with Gamora dead, Thanos doesn't know where the Soul Stone is. And on top of that, even if he did, Gamora is already dead. So he doesn't have anybody to sacrifice, leaving him with 2 stones, power and reality. And he is on his way to get the other 3, which Hela has. Eventually, the two come face to face, and I am really torn about whether or not they would fight. You can let me know what you think in the iCard, but I will go over both scenarios. If they fight, Hela has the immediate advantage of having 3 stones. She also has the advantage of not being able to be killed unless Asgard is destroyed. So the outcome of the fight would really depend on where it took place. If the battle took place on Asgard, and Thanos knew how to kill Hela, then all he would need to do would be to touch the Power Stone to the surface and destroy Asgard, thus killing Hela in the process. He would then be able to get the 3 stones that she had, but he would still not be able to get the Soul Stone. But with the other 5 stones, he would still be able to achieve his goal just manually. All he would have to do is freeze time and then just travel planet to planet, killing half the population. It would take him a while, but he would essentially get it done. So Thanos wins. If the battle took place anywhere besides Asgard though, then Hela wins easily. And she then has 5 stones, so she can conquer the universe. And I'm just now realizing that I said I was going to talk about both situations, whether they were allies or whether they fought. And I forgot to write a script for if they were allies, so here goes nothing. If they decided to not fight and to be allies, then they would have 5 stones. But in order to complete the snap, they would need to have all 6. And I think that eventually they would definitely be able to find the Soul Stone, but I don't think either of them would ever love someone enough to kill them, seeing as Hela already killed Gamora. But if Hela killed Gamora, Thanos is going to be upset, and now they're not going to be allies. This isn't going anywhere. Yeah, moving on. So if Ultron killed everybody, then it would have some cataclysmic event across the universe. I mean, who would have thought that Earth's population dying would cause Hela to be able to take over the universe? Now for the situation where all of the few people who could have survived did. Of the Avengers, I think Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Vision, and Scarlet Witch could all survive. Thor, Hulk, and Vision are all super tough. Iron Man could just be flying when the city hit, and Vision caught Wanda. Even in his weakened state, I still feel like there's a good chance that Odin would be able to survive, especially since he's all the way across the world. Wakanda has some pretty powerful tech, so I feel like they have a pretty solid chance of surviving. And the Ancient One and the other Masters of the Mystic Arts also have a pretty decent chance. If the Ancient One survives, then she can just use the Time Stone to reverse what Ultron did and save the Earth. And if she doesn't do that, then Caecilius can just summon Dormammu, and since Stephen Strange is dead, the Earth will be consumed into the Dark Dimension. Either way, if everyone who can survive does, then the event will come to an end pretty quickly. So let's say everyone except for the Masters of the Mystic Arts survives. The remaining Avengers scour the Earth in search of any survivors, and they find Odin. Thor and Odin travel back to Asgard and dethrone Loki. They gather the Asgardian armies together and go to defeat Ultron. In Wakanda, King T'Chaka determines that they cannot remain in hiding while Ultron rules the Earth, so they also set out to take him down. This would happen so fast that Ultron has little time to repair and would simply be taken out by the combined forces of Wakanda and Asgard. Thor takes off into space in search of the Infinity Stones, the same as he does at the end of Age of Ultron. Tony collapses into depression and PTSD and becomes a serious alcoholic. I imagine the same thing would have happened in Endgame had Pepper not survived the snap. I imagine Banner would have also gone through similar changes as he did from Infinity War to Endgame, becoming Professor Hulk. Wakanda becomes the backbone of the Earth, spreading across the land and building it from the ground up. Thor eventually makes his way to where he defeats Surtur and brings his crown back to Asgard. Odin summons Thor and commands him to get Loki from the dungeon. The two brothers have one last conversation with their father before he dies. This frees Hela, and the events of Ragnarok take place, only this time they're already on Asgard, so Thor and Loki never end up on Sakaar, and Hela is defeated much faster. But they still have to resort to using Surtur to destroy Asgard in order to defeat Hela. But the Asgardians are able to use the Bifrost or the Tesseract in order to escape to Earth. With the combined help of Asgard and Wakanda, Earth is able to grow quickly and soon is able to thrive. But then Thanos attacks. Thanos makes it Earth with 3 stones. He has the Power Stone, the Reality Stone, and the Soul Stone. Thor has the Space Stone, Vision has the Mind Stone, and Wakanda has found and taken the Time Stone. Thanos first travels to New Asgard, and since he has no warning, Thor is easily defeated. Now, with the Space Stone, Thanos is able to teleport to wherever Vision is and simply rip the Mind Stone out of his head. The Time Stone is definitely the hardest for him to get, seeing as it is stored in Wakanda. But with some time, he is still able to get it. And snap. There goes half the universe. Only for good this time, because Scott Lang is dead, and Tony is in no position to invent time travel. So, the end. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like and share it with your friends. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video from me in the future. But anyways, once again, thank you so much for watching. That's all I've got for you today. I'll see you next time. Well, today I discussed what if Ultron had won and okay.